Hello there. So Russian oligarchs are lining up to use human rights laws to avoid sanctions, are they? Well, it looks like we're getting ourselves into a human rights pickle where these Russian oligarchs and sanctions are concerned. The UK government is right now trying to rush through laws so that we can freeze the assets of the Russian kleptocrat oligarchs who've swindled the Russian people out of their money and launder it through the City of London. And however fast the Tory government goes, the Labour Party is there snapping at their heels saying, "Not fast enough, do more." The trouble, though, is that according to the Telegraph, it's emerging that these oligarchs are using human rights laws to fight off Foreign Office attempts to seize and freeze their assets. And one they are using is the right to the presumption of innocence. That is, no one is guilty of an offence until proven by a court to have committed an offence. And where billions are at stake, you can see how important that might be. And after one successful case brought on this basis in the last year, there are fears that these lawyers might scare off the Foreign Office from taking action. But the Labour leader Keir Starmer has been pushing Boris Johnson hard on this issue, and the PM has been forced to increase the strength of the proposed laws he's bringing forwards, as well as speeding things up too. Otherwise, he risks looking weak. And a former Justice Secretary who worked for the PM said that there are fears that the UK is interpreting human rights laws too strictly, and that if the EU is more lax in this area than us, then we should be following them. I'll let that concept sink in for you. The UK has higher human rights standards than the EU. Because it sounds like the Labour Party is pushing the UK government to follow the EU in a looser and less human rights interpretation of human rights law where these oligarchs are concerned. Or at least treat them differently to other people. And isn't that in itself a breach of human rights law? Now let's play a little devil's advocate here. I'm not saying we shouldn't freeze the assets of these oligarchs. I think we definitely should. But I'm going to ask a question. When people use the plush red carpet across the English Channel to get here, the Labour Party insists that every single human rights I is dotted and every T is crossed. That the best accommodation is provided as well as all the trimmings. And no questions must be asked of the visitors, and all their claims must be believed without question. And if visitors to this country do commit the most heinous of crimes here, and the courts wish they be deported, the Labour Party is the first to cheer when human rights lawyers get them off the plane to live out their lives here to maybe re-offend. But when these oligarchs commit no actual crime here, then the Labour Party happily backs the making of laws that could breach the human rights of these oligarchs. And they stand in Parliament and demand it be done. So as a lawyer himself, surely the Labour leader Keir Starmer should be arguing for the opposite. He should surely be consistent and be arguing for the full and total protection of the human rights of these oligarchs in the same way as the aforementioned visitors. Because when we've targeted them all and seized and frozen all their cash, Starmer will want to get back to ensuring the English Channel carpet gets plusher and wider by the day, won't he? But he will have compromised his position of fully respecting human rights, won't he? Now, as I said, interpreting human rights law to the eye-wateringly high, self-punishing extent that we have done so in the UK is wrong. And what we now need to do is look at the bar set for the oligarchs and reset it across the board. Unless, of course, we don't believe in equality before the law. But there is another aspect to Starmer's push on this issue. Maybe, if he can get oligarchs' cash frozen quickly, it might damage some bankers' bonuses, so making it impossible for the Russians and less likely for bankers to donate to the Tory coffers.